Stranger Things has been a massive hit since its release, with a strong lineup of influences ranging from movies like E.T. and The Goonies. Stranger Things is able to create its own sense of nostalgia through referencing these old school movies. Though, what I find most interesting is how the show takes these influences and finds a way to mash them with horror films. The series introduces us to the disturbing world of the Upside Down. Visually, there's a lot of references to the 1986 film Aliens. If we look at the arcade scene in Stranger Things, it manages to maintain its nostalgic aesthetic, but suddenly the whole world changes into a love child between its own aesthetic and the slimy dripping world of Alien. This transformation of the world around a character was the inspiration for my own visual effects project, but this raises the question, how do you use visual effects and other film techniques to build a sense of tension and terror seen in these films? To answer this, we need to take a step back. What is the most crucial elements of horror? What makes it scary? For answers in the book, The Spectacle of Isolation in Horror Films, someone finds themselves alone, usually in a dark, unfamiliar place. Not quite alone. With you is someone or something that kind of wants to kill you. But what makes this terrifying is that it keeps the characters away from help.
I am 2 seconds away from calling the police.
They'd never make it in time. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
From a technical perspective, this isolation was convenient to my own project. Isolating a single person was easier to rotoscope, build the world around, and emphasize the reaction to the changing environment. But it also gave me a great opportunity to implement some cinematography techniques. Paraphrasing the filmmaker's Book of the Dead, lens distortion is a good way to disrupt stability in a scene, including the use of focal length. You can see this is used in Alien during all the close-ups, as well as in Stranger Things when Will walks away from his friends. I use this technique in my own project, but I added a pull focus to really drive the fact that the people who were there seconds ago aren't there anymore, and now my character is isolated. See, I don't have a Jason, Freddy, or a guy in a mask. I have a supernatural world that has stolen my character. I decided to steer away from the slimy, wet science fiction feel in Alien, and focus more on the apocalyptic, overgrown aspects seen in Stranger Things. It sort of works to ground the scene in a different version of Earth rather than on a different planet. To make the scene feel more unnatural, I took further reference from Nightmare on Elm Street, but rather than the film, from the iteration in the game Dead by Daylight. The ash-like dust floating around the sky when players fall asleep was something I drew inspiration from. See, the initial idea was to have my actor notice some of these particles in the headlights of a car, turn around, and her friends aren't there anymore. After filming, I reflected on the footage and realised that the brief for the project wanted some interaction with CG elements. This reflective process, as described by Muratowski, is the definition of applied research. Quoting him, "Applied research is a type of research that enables practitioners to reflect on and evaluate their own work." Considering this, I explored having my actor interact with the dust, which would involve a slightly more complex simulation. This particle reaction to my actor works to answer my initial question, how to build tension using visual effects. It makes the dust feel alive, which makes the audience recognize that it's not just dust in the headlights, that something is wrong, something's supernatural about it. So back to the question, how do you use visual effects and other film techniques to build a sense of tension, disruption, isolation, and confrontation? Something disrupted the stability of the scene, and someone has become isolated. The presence of someone or something is bleeding through, and once the character is alone, they must confront it.